stream YouTube-nya, Pak.
Assalamualaikum Pak Prof Adang, Anto, Bu Yulianti. Terima kasih atas kedatangannya.
Ya, Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Pak Herli.
Ya, ini sambil menunggu teman-teman yang lain.
Oke,
Gimana cuaca di sana, Anto?
baik. Ya, cerah.
Nggak hujan?
Gimana? Di sana gimana?
Good afternoon, Dr. Salim.
Good afternoon. Who is speaking?
Ming Ming, it's Ming Ming.
Oh, Ming Ming
Dr.
from.
Jinapon student.
Oh, okay. Ming Ming
China.
from China. Yeah. Thank you for participating. Thank you for participating. Is Dr. Jira joining this program or? Roy Wu also here. And thank you everyone for participating here. Pak Peter Waterworth also here already. I think I can see it from the list. And
hello everybody. Great
hello.
to see you all.
Yes, nice to see you too. Bu Yuli, thank you for your participation, Bu Yuli.
You're welcome, sir. Nice to meet you here again.
Okay, nice to meet you too. We are now here about 35 participants already logged in. Dr. Araya Piyakun also is here with us.
Yes, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, thank you. I'm also good. Yes, Hanif, I think we should start. It's exactly 1 o'clock Indonesia time.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And let me begin by giving you all warm welcome to the webinar on research in COVID-19 new normal time. This webinar is presented by Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, Regional Campus of Serang, in associate with several partners from Australia, Thailand, and Indonesia. Actually, this webinar is the second series. The first series has been conducted in July 7, 2020. So it's such a great honor to welcome you all in this very special occasion. I'm Muhammad Hanif, just call me Hanif. Today will be your host and also your moderator. First of all, joining our today's agenda, there are some honorary invited guests. Let me welcome them. The first is the Honorable Mr. Professor Adang Suherman, M.A., the Vice Rector of Research, Partnership, and Businesses of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. Welcome, Professor Adang.
Yeah, welcome, Pak Adang.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming here. And the second, of course, Mr. Herli Salim, Ph.D., the Director of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, Regional Campus of Serang. And of course, also our valuable speakers for today, Professor Peter Waterworth from Deakin University, Australia.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. And Mrs. Araya Piyakun, Ph.D. from Mahasarakham University, Thailand.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Araya. And Mr. Afrianto Daud, Ph.D. from Universitas Riau, Indonesia.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. And the last but not least, Dr. Sri Setyarini from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia.
Is not here yet, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
They'll be coming.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, all of the participants around the globe following our agenda through Zoom cloud meeting and also YouTube channel. For your information, our today's agenda is participate by participants from several countries. They are from China, India, Thailand, Colombia, Vietnam, and also Indonesia. Okay, before we are going to the business, let me remind you about the webinar rules that you have to follow during this webinar. So our webinar will run smoothly. Yeah. Screen share. Everyone, can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Clear.
Okay, the first webinar is held from 13 to 16 p.m. So it will be a long webinar. So please prepare your device and also your internet connection. All the participants should mute the microphone during this webinar so we can clearly hear what the speaker says. And the participants should enable the video camera. The participant can directly give their question in live chat. Please introduce yourself and to whom the question for. We will pick up several questions to discuss with the speakers. To get the e-certificate, participants should fill in the presence list. I will attach the presence list later. The participant also can follow the event from YouTube streaming video in Publikasi UPI Kampus Serang. Has been attached the link in the chat and PKSD UPI Serang channel. So don't worry if you lose your connection, there will be the recordings of this agenda in YouTube. The e-certificate will be delivered through email after the event. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm glad to show you our rundown for today. So our webinar will be divided into at least 4 sessions. The first will be greeting from committee that will be represented by Mr. Herli Salim, Ph.D., the Director of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, Regional Campus of Serang. And the second will be welcoming speech and also opening remark from the representative of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia that today will be delivered by Professor Dr. Adang Suherman, the Vice Rector for Research, Partnership, and Businesses of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. And the third section will be our main agenda today, webinar session that you well know that today we will have 4 amazing speakers from Australia, Thailand, and also Indonesia, and followed by question and answer section. And last, we also have paper presentation after the webinar session. And also the closing statement. So, ladies and gentlemen, while waiting for the others coming, so let's begin this event with a speech from the committee that today will be delivered by Mr. Herli Salim, Ph.D., the Director of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, Regional Campus of Serang. Mr. Herli Salim, now the time is yours.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, and my respective brothers and sisters, especially distinguished guests, Professor Adang Suherman, Professor Peter Waterworth, Dr. Araya, Dr. Daud, and Dr. Setyarini. I am more than happy to welcome you all on this research webinar on COVID new normal time. This webinar aims for establishing educational cooperation platform among researchers around the globe. I am extremely in-depth for the following speakers: Professor Peter, Dr. Araya, Dr. Daud, and Dr. Setyarini. My special thanks also goes to Professor Adang Suherman, who will be representing the rector, our rector, Professor Salim. Thank you so much, Pak Adang, for coming over and for making opening remark to this seminar.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in pandemic COVID-19. What shall we do as researchers? We are all here to listen to the speaker's idea, even we live along with COVID-19. We certainly still contribute to spark the research. There are many ideas that we can offer to make a better world through research. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you so much for your participation. We do hope that this academic cooperation will forge the international link between us, among us, and we do hope also we can cooperate in the near future, especially for those who are having close relation with us, such as Universitas Riau, Mahasarakham, and many other universities. Special thanks goes to the student from Mahasarakham of Reserach, as well as to students of Dr. Roy from Thailand Technology University, and many other students around the globe from China, Thailand, Colombia, which has been mentioned by our moderator. Yeah. Once again, thank you so much, and let's listen to the speakers attentively. May you enjoy the Serang webinar, and would like to invite Professor Adang Suherman to deliver speech. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Herli. Please give him a big applause first. Okay, then now we are going to the second speech. That will be the representative from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, and also becoming the opening remark that today will be delivered by Professor Dr. Adang Suherman, M.A., the Vice Rector for Research, Partnership, and Businesses of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. Professor Adang, now the time is fully yours.
Thank you, moderator. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, selamat siang, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. The honorable keynote speakers, the honorable invited guests, the honorable Director of UP Regional Campus of Serang, Dr. Herli Salim, M.Ed. Ph.D., the honorable organizing committee of webinar UP Serang, the honorable participants, lecturers, teachers, and students. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, through this welcome speech, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all the committee members of the conference of the webinar led by Herli Salim, Ph.D., as the Director of UP Regional Campus of Serang, who have worked hard and smartly to hold this webinar, so the webinar can run very well. Ladies and gentlemen, this topic of webinar is about research on COVID-19 and new normal. This topic dealing with the urgent problem in the world, including in Indonesia. I believe this conference will be a process of academic activities and an integral part of educational process in this COVID-19 era. I believe also that this webinar not only become a medium to get the latest information and knowledge of research in this COVID-19 era, but also by this webinar, we can cooperate with other institutions in national and international scope in any other academic and research activities. So that by conducting collaborative academic activities like this, hopefully UPI is able to achieve the vision and mission as a leading and outstanding university in education. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, my sincere gratitude also goes to all of the keynote speakers of the webinar. We have Prof. Peter Waterworth from Deakin, University, Australia. Good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon.
In Bali seminar.
Yes, Bali. You met each other in Bali seminar. Yeah.
And also Araya Piyakun, Ph.D. from Mahasarakham University, Thailand. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Araya.
Good afternoon.
And also Afrianto Daud, Ph.D. University Riau, Indonesia. Selamat siang. Good afternoon, Pak Daud. And Dr. Setyarini, M.A., Ling, UPI. Selamat sore, Ibu
Selamat sore.
Sorry.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Welcome to our webinar, and I hope you all can enjoy sharing the idea in this webinar. Unfortunately, you cannot come physically to Serang because of pandemic COVID-19. I think Serang City is one of the 6 UP campus located in west side of West Java. Serang has a lot of souvenir actually and interesting places to offer.
Please come to Serang.
Actually, your busy schedule, visit the interesting places and enjoy your delicious food if you are here in Serang. Hopefully, other opportunity you can come to Serang, and don't forget to contact the director of UP Regional Campus of Serang.
Yeah, I'm happy to be your host.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the rest of my speech, of my welcome speech, as the committee mentioned that I have to open the webinar officially. For officially open the webinar of research on COVID-19 on this day, Thursday, 5th of August, 2020, I would like to ask all participants saying Basmalah together.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Finally, I would like to thank you for attending, paying attention, and participating in conducting the webinar. Thank you very much. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Adang. So please, everyone, give him a big virtual applause. Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to our main agenda for today. That will be the webinar session. As you know, that today we will have 4 amazing speakers for today's webinar. The first will be Professor Peter Waterworth from Deakin University, Australia. He will share his ideas about research enterprises. And the second will be Mrs. Araya Piyakun, Ph.D. from Mahasarakham University, Thailand. She will discuss about researchers' mindset during COVID-19 time, and followed by the third speakers from Universitas Riau, Indonesia, Mr. Afrianto Daud, Ph.D., that share his insight about how to conduct research in pandemic time. And the last but not least, also discussing a very interesting topic about tips for doing successful research. It is Mrs. Dr. Sri Setyarini from Universitas Pendidikan, Indonesia. So, can we start now, Professor Peter?
Yes, certainly we can.
So, please everyone, enjoy the webinar. So, before Professor Peter, let me share screen first. Now, everyone, can you see the Professor Peter slides? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Before Professor Peter start to describe what on his insights, I will give a brief statement of Professor Peter. So Professor Peter Waterworth is an educational sociologist and was associate professor at Deakin University, Australia, before his retirement. He has 2 doctoral degrees, one in sociology from Monash University, Australia, and the second from Thailand, an honorary doctorate awarded from Thailand, presented by the Crown Prince of Thailand in recognition of his educational contribution to Thailand. Professor Peter has been an academic consultant in a number of countries in Southeast Asia, including Thailand and Indonesia. And he is also visiting professor in research and development at number of university in Indonesia and Thailand. If you want to know more about him, so let the discussion later, or you can contact him directly. Okay, Professor Peter. Now, the please times for you.
Great. Thank you very much, Hanif. It's a great pleasure to be here and to participate with you in this webinar. I'd like to pay my respects to Dr. Adang. I have met you, Dr. Adang, at Bali, at a conference in Bali. And it's great to meet you again on this webinar. Dr. Araya from Mahasarakham University. I also have contacts with Mahasarakham University, having taught some of the staff and students there in the PhD program. Also a welcome to Dr. Bu Rini Upi. Thank you very much, Dr. Herli Salim, for the invitation to join this seminar.
Yeah, you're
welcome.
welcome.
Of course, we know, I know well the Dr. Afrianto from Riau University, having worked with him not only in Indonesia, but also in his time in Australia. So we go to the first slide, please. The next slide. Victoria is experiencing a second wave of infection from the COVID crisis. The difficulties that we're having in Victoria are extremely difficult times. We have a lockdown at the moment in Victoria. We cannot go out at night. There's a curfew at night from 8 o'clock till 5 a.m. in the morning. We cannot go out onto the streets. Schooling has been cancelled. It is now all online in Victoria, and universities, of course, as well. If you look at these figures here, you can see that I've just chosen a few countries here. You can see that the number of cases in the United States is the highest in the world, actually. But also UK, the number of cases is also very high. In Indonesia, we have 106,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Although it might be that that number is very small, it could be that there are many more. In fact, in the paper this morning here in Melbourne, we had a report that it could be 10 times as high as that, in which case it's getting up very, very high. We noticed that the number of deaths, the third column, is a very significant number. Of course, it's very high in the United States and in the UK, not nearly as high in Indonesia. And then when you come down to other countries within our region, the number of deaths is far lower. So this leads us to a conclusion that in this region of Southeast Asia and the Pacific, the impact of the crisis is not nearly as severe as in other parts of the world. We are fortunate in that way, even though we have suffered many deaths. These are the figures for a few days ago, the 31st of July. You'll notice that in the second last column, the deaths per million in the population, that the deaths per million in the United States and in UK are very high compared to other parts of the world, and they're very low in our area of the world, particularly in Thailand, which has been very successful in controlling this outbreak, this pandemic, 0.8 deaths per million in the population. So that's extremely gratifying. In Australia, the deaths are 189. Today, in Victoria, we had the highest number of cases, new cases discovered in Victoria, and the highest number of deaths. We get a figure every night. In fact, the media is saturated with information regarding the COVID crisis. Can we go to the next slide, please? So here are some of the responses that we have, especially in relation to the way in which this pandemic is having its effect upon the world, and the way in which these factors are affecting or impacting education in particular, and research as well. So here are some of the responses, some of the factors to do with COVID-19. The first is restrictions upon movement and interaction. So we can't go out, or we can't go out as much or as long or for such a long period of time as we could in the past. So movement and interaction spread the virus. And so this means that we have to reduce the group activities. We have to wear face masks in public. But more importantly, this leads to a lack of business activity. It means to businesses and even individuals that the amount of money that we have to spend on various activities is reduced, particularly in the business world. This is both personally and nationally. The second is limits on local, interstate and overseas travel. This particularly limits research activities. We find that this is a pretty difficult stage that we're living in trying to cope with this virus. Thirdly, massive government expenditure on health and income support programs. So there's a lot of money being spent on the health aspects of this, trying to avert the crisis health ways. Testing, treatment, research, support for people with no income. So the government is going into huge amounts of debt in Australia and also in other countries in the world. Fourthly, changes to employment and schooling. So that most people are working from home now in Australia, or schooling is mostly online schooling, or a mixture of online schooling and sometimes attendance at school. In Victoria, there's no schooling, there's no attendance at schooling except in extremely unusual circumstances. And then there's a differential impact upon different segments of the population with this virus. In Western economies, Black people are more affected. Asian people are more affected than the general population. Men are more affected. Those in low socioeconomic areas are more affected. Those with comorbidities, in other words, other illnesses, are more affected by the virus, and this particularly affects the aged. Those people working in healthcare are more affected, more likely to contract the virus. As far as social ideas are concerned, women and young people are more affected by poor employment opportunities, and people in their mid-career are also very badly affected. Let's go on to the next slide, please. And this is where we looked at higher education in particular and in research. Firstly, the transfer of learning and academic work to online mode. So online learning has become very, very important, and we don't know very much about it. Well, we do know a lot, actually, but it has been really affected by a huge number of people having to go onto it and many people not being familiar, and therefore the models of online learning have not always been very successful. A lot of people are teachers, university lecturers are inexperienced in using online learning. We know that online learning doesn't work particularly well in some areas of learning. If you are required to do lab work or field work or some kind of work experience, if you have to work in a ward, a hospital, if you have to work with clients, those areas are very badly affected by this online learning. Secondly, there's a scaling down of international education programs. Now, this is particularly important in Australia. In Australia, we have a large number of international students that leave their countries, mostly in Asia, Southeast Asia in particular, and come and do their higher degrees here in Australia, particularly in Victoria. I think Victoria has more higher degree students from other countries than other states of Australia, even New South Wales. And so with the COVID virus, a lot of students have returned home. They have found it difficult to maintain their standards of living here in Australia, and they've returned home. And there is therefore a lot of students who are getting out of their courses. And this is affecting the work of universities, because most universities devote a lot of student fees to research. In fact, it's believed that more than 40% of the income from international student fees is spent on research in universities. And so this huge gap, as we now have it, in the amount of funding that's available for research is having a huge impact on research. Now, thirdly, there's loss of university staff and changes to staff working conditions. So we find that part-time staff, contract or short-term staff are the first ones to leave or to be asked to leave. A lot of people are working from home. Most university lecturers are now working from home. This cuts down their consultation with colleagues. University staff have to become more used to using electronic means of communicating with their students and with their colleagues. They have to become familiar with using Zoom, using email, using chat, using social media. And this is a bit of a shock to some university staff. Fourthly, there's the redirection of research foci and the advancement or rationalisation of research projects. So we're finding that a lot of research is now being directed towards COVID-related areas. Some research projects have been stopped. Some are continuing through. New ones are being rationalised or have been trimmed down. And so there now is a more important focus upon the COVID-related areas. Fifthly, there's a redevelopment of international research efforts. There's less time now, unfortunately, available for research. We have to reconstruct international education. We have to reconstruct the way in which we provide education in universities, and this has taken a lot of our time. We're finding that senior researchers are getting the best research projects, the new research projects, especially crisis response kinds of projects, not the women, not the younger researchers, not the lower ranked researchers, not the mid-career researchers, those who are raising families. There's also a re-emphasis upon interdisciplinary studies in the way in which we're offering and redeveloping research. And number 6, reconfiguring publication of research. We'll leave this to other speakers, but one study has shown that there is now there are now more articles that are being presented to journals, international journals. Let's go to the recommendations. Firstly, we need to redevelop research topics in COVID-related projects. We can all offer something to our understanding of COVID issues. Every discipline has something that it can offer. We need to think of the way in which we can do research that helps in understanding online learning, understanding isolation, restructuring the offerings that we offer. Secondly, joint multidisciplinary teams in COVID-related projects. It's very important to recognise that COVID affects so many areas of our lives, not just the health issues, but the consequences of economic shutdown. There are many, many issues, multi-dimensional issues, and we can all contribute to multidisciplinary teams. Thirdly, we need to review our higher degree programs. We need to offer more study programs in COVID-related areas so that graduate employment opportunities will be increased for our students. We need to revise study programs to include more online delivery. We need to develop shorter non-credit online courses to increase the skill levels of students in high demand areas. And fourthly, we need to review research funding priorities to redress imbalances. At the present time, there are imbalances in the way in which research funding is allocated. Women, for example, are being left out, and younger researchers are being left out. In the new funding priorities, they need to be reconsidered. And finally, if I can go to my conclusions, we have a big responsibility. We have a clear responsibility to contribute to insightful research, which will tackle health and social crises that we face. Universities, researchers have a social responsibility, and we need to take this seriously. Secondly, if a vaccine is discovered, it will dramatically alter the post-COVID recovery. We talk about pre-COVID and post-COVID, but if a vaccine is not discovered, it will be a matter of managing the COVID response as well as we possibly can. And thirdly, and finally, universities have to adapt their teaching and research programs in order to fulfill their significant roles in society. Universities are the leaders in thought in our societies. They lead the debate. They should be doing research which will help in the development of policy, in the way in which they advise government and government bureaucracies. We have a big responsibility, and we should take those responsibilities seriously. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, Prof. You are welcome.
Thank you. But Hanif, you're not on the, you need to turn your microphone on.
Hanif, your microphone still off.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Professor Peter. Please, everyone, give him also a big applause. Very concise presentation, but it mostly happened in Indonesia. We will have a more discussion about Professor Peter's presentation later. Okay. Before we only have a very limited time, so now we are going to the second second speakers for today. That will be Mrs. Araya Piyakun, Ph.D. from Mahasarakham University, Thailand. Araya will manage your presentation by yourself.
Yes. Sorry, Hanif, do you have to allow me to share the screen?
Yeah. Yes, now
okay.
you can share.
Thank you very much.
Okay, what? So please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. At first, I would like to thank you, UPI and webinar organizers, Dr. Herli and Hanif, to invited me join this webinar. And also, I'm very glad that be a part of this webinar together with Professor Peter. We met a couple of times in Thailand with Dr. Daud and also Dr. Setyarini. Because my area is in educational psychology, so what I'm going to talk today is about mindset, which is focused mainly on motivation. So my point for today is about the motivation for researchers to get through this COVID pandemic time. I often ask my student to, my research student to imagine themselves as an adventurer, like this photo, this picture. I also be like these two guides walking and climbing a mountain, because we set our goal, a research goal, maybe at over here on the top of the big white mountain. When my student saw this picture and I point that this is your goal to finish your thesis, to finish your research. And then they said, oh, it's far away. It's very far. It's very long distance. And so they said, yes, of course, I don't deny it, but so what? It's far, but it's not impossible to go there. So they said, okay, I will do my best. And now, not just only the distance is very far, we have this one, coronavirus. Coronavirus impacts us many aspects, health, our lifestyles, and so many things. So it obstacle and it make us have a more difficulty to work and to communicate to others. For example, actually, I have a friend, a very good old friend, work in UPI, and his name is Dr. Rizwanda, Professor Rizwanda. We talk about research and we want to do a research, but because of coronavirus, and we cannot meet each other face to face. So we have to change or adapt the way to communicate, the way to communicate. So that's why, because of the coronavirus, and my students said that it's not just only that our goal is too far, but also we now faced with coronavirus, as Professor Peter said, that some studies may need to be stopped or trim or reduce or so whatever. And my students asked me, what should I do? I smile and ask them again, do you want to step back because of coronavirus, or do you want to go forward? Because even though we have a kind of difficulties, but we can conquer it with our thought, careful, and awareness. So my students said, okay, I try my best. So because of coronavirus, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that pushed us to change or adapt our lifestyles from normal to new normal. What I want to ask you that, what do you think about new normal? Do you think the new normal is obstacle or opportunity? If you think new normal is obstacle, you may feel that it's hard. You may stop or postpone your plan just because you think that it's obstacles, it's difficult. It's difficult. But if you think new normal is an opportunity, you may continue your work. You may just a little bit change or adapt something and go forward. You choose is your choice, and your choice depends mainly on mindset. Many years ago, I bought a book called Mindset, A New Psychology of Success, written by Carol Dweck. And after I read this book, I feel that, okay, this book is very wow, because it changed my mind. It changed me in many aspects. Mindset, the definition of mindset in this book. Carol Dweck defines the mindset as one's belief about his or her own intellectual abilities. So if you believe that your abilities is fixed, it means that you hold a fixed mindset. If you believe that your ability can change, you can change your intellectual ability, you can improve your abilities through effort, through good strategies. It means that you hold growth mindset. How important or how different between fixed and growth mindset? This image show very well about the differences between the person who hold fixed mindset and the person who hold a growth mindset. Those who believe that their ability is fixed, when they see the challenge or face with the obstacles, they will give up easily because they think they can do nothing that they can do much. So they think effort is useless. They cannot stand with the criticism. And also they see that the success of others is threatened. Like a researcher, should we hold the fixed mindset? On the contrary, if we hold the growth mindset, the person who holds a growth mindset, when they find the difficulties, for example, the uncertainty, for example, the new normal way to communicate, to work, the difficulties in our life, if we hold the growth mindset, we will accept all the difficulties and we will try the best and we embrace with the obstacles, the difficulty, and see it as a challenge. And we try to work very hard, learn good strategies to conquer all obstacles. When someone criticizes us, we just listen and improve ourselves. We will see the success of others as inspiration to inspire us to work. So as a researcher, do you want to hold fixed mindset or growth mindset? That is your choice. One of my PhD students, she developed a model called, a training model called SPASA model. This SPASA model aimed to enhance teacher-students growth mindset. So I adapt this model to use for motivate all researchers how we get through this difficult time. My student, her name is Tanadi here, so I adapt her model. So I call this SPASA model to enhance our researchers' work performance through growth mindset. This model has 5 steps. So the first one is self-analysis, and the second one is plan for goal, then action and remove barriers, and then self-reflection, and the last step is about apply the real life. For self-analysis, there are some questions in the self-analysis. If you want to have a growth mindset, at first you have to ask yourself about your belief. What do you believe about? What do you believe about COVID-19 pandemic? What do you believe about new normal? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about your research abilities? And when you answer the first question, try to answer the second question. If you believe that your research ability is fixed, or if you believe that you cannot do it You cannot work, you cannot doing a research during the COVID-19 time because it's difficult, because you have a difficult to communicate with others. You have a difficulty in collecting the data. What are the consequences of your belief? Answer that. Of course, if you believe that you cannot do it or you cannot do anything, the consequences that will be you will stop or postpone things that you plan. Compare to the other side of your belief. If you change your belief and you believe that you can do it, your research ability is not fixed. It can improve through effort, through learning, through learn from failures. What are the consequences of your belief? Of course, if you believe that your ability can improve, the consequences is that you will improve your ability. That is the first step. You have to analyze or understand yourself, answer these questions, and you will know and you will see the difference between fixed and growth mindset. What do you believe about the uncertainty? What do you believe about stress? If you believe that stress is enhancing, what are the impacts of your belief? If you believe that stress about research is debilitating, what are the impacts of your belief? So ask yourself first, and when you know that your belief leads you to the negative side of your work, change your belief. When you try to adjust or adapt and understand your own belief, the next step is plan. Not just only that I believe that I can do, and then that's all. Not just only that one. When you believe that you can do it, just do it. To do it successfully, you have to set your goal. And also, I want to add a little bit more that the goal should be quite challenging. The goal for researcher should be the one that can innovate new ideas, can contribute the new knowledge. My tips is that read a lot. I often tell my research students. So set your goal. When you set your goal, after that you plan. What are you going to do to reach the goal? Step by step. Set the goal, plan, and then next, action and remove barriers. There are three things to do at this step. Action, do it. Do it as your plan. While you are doing it, you just monitor whether in each step that follow the plan, and don't forget to be flexible, because we have to accept that we live in the uncertain world. There are a lot of unexpected happening in our life. For example, COVID-19. The end of last year, I think the COVID-19 start the end of last year or early this year, I'm not really sure. When we first knew about the news about COVID-19, we didn't expect that the impact of COVID-19 would be like very huge, enormous, very big like this. So you have to prepare yourself, be flexible. So sometimes we need to adapt or adjust our plan. And after we do as our plan, and then we monitor the step by step, and then be flexible. The next step is self-reflection. When you do the self-reflection, I really like this one because we reflect ourselves, because self-reflection helps us to improve ourselves. So to improve ourselves, we need to open mind, listen to others, learn from failures. Many researchers may afraid of being failed, and just you have to change your belief. You have to change your mindset. Failures is not bad. You can learn from failures, but not make the same mistake many times is not good. Okay, but you learn from mistakes. So try to improve yourself. Open mind, listen to others, to reflect ourselves. And finally, keep up your inspiration as a researcher, your passion as a researcher. What is your inspiration? You can learn from success of others to inspire yourself. Don't give up because of COVID-19 or other difficulties in your life. Keep up the inspiration and passion to do research. Believe in exercise. Exercise your abilities, your research abilities, and then go and reach the goal as you plan. So just in the you can apply if you use this PASA model to apply your life in when you see the and behaviors. If we hold a growth mindset, we accept the COVID-19 pandemic as a problem, and we will see it as a challenge. We won't give up. We will passion. So that is about the mindset. I really hope that because for my own experience as a researcher and also my research students, there are a lot of difficulties and feelings that very mixed up while we are doing research. And my students often say that research is hard. I can't deny that research. I cannot say that doing research is easy, but it depends on your mindset. What do you think? What do you believe about yourself, about your ability? If you see the difficulty of research as a challenge, you will be happy and you will work with inspiration and passion to do a research. So that's about mindset for researchers during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much.
Let's give her a bit applause. So I believe that some of the participants are now questioning why Mrs. Araya is very good delivering in education and psychology, because I forget to introduce her. Why she is very good in educational psychology, because she is now a lecturer of Department of Educational Psychology and Guidance, and she also graduated from doctoral program in philosophy and educational psychology from Monash University, Australia. So a little bit about her background. So I think the participants will also have some question about the how to adjust the researcher's mindset, and it will just to Mrs. Araya. So, okay, then now we will have the third speakers for today. Mr. Afrianto, are you with us? Yeah. Will you manage your presentation by yourself?
Yes, I'll do by myself.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget to read the CV of Afrianto Daud.
Yes, okay. Yeah, before Mr. Afrianto Daud present his materials about how to conduct the research in pandemic time, so let me introduce him first. Mr. Afrianto Daud, M.Ed. Ph.D. Date of birth June 20, 1975. He is now a lecturer of English Education Department in Universitas Riau, Indonesia. He has a doctoral degree in teacher education from Monash University, Australia. So 3 of today's speakers, I think all of the speakers today are Australian scholars. 4. So, and also have master degree also in Monash in TESOL International, and if I'm mistaken, she also the vice coordinator of EFLIN, regional of Riau. Yeah. Okay. It is a little bit about the educational background of Mr. Afrianto Daud. So, if you are ready now, so please, Mr. Afrianto Daud, the time is fully yours.
Okay, thank you, Pak Hanif. Can you please allow me to share screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank UPI Serang or UPI in general for conducting this very interesting webinar today. And then, thank you for Dr. Herli Salim, Pak Hanif, organizing committee, and Prof. Adang, and other colleagues from UPI. And I'm happy to meet again Prof. Peter here, and Dr. Araya, and also Ibu Dr. Sri Setyarini. Greeting for everyone. Okay, in my session, I'm going to share some ideas how to conduct research during this difficult situation or during this COVID-19 outbreak. Specifically, I'm going to discuss some methodological choices. About me, it has been introduced by moderator. Thank you, moderator. I will skip this. And this is the overview of my presentation. So I'll begin by, again, reminding us with some limitation that we are dealing with during this COVID-19 outbreak. And then in the second, this is the main part of my presentation, I'm going to discuss some methodological choices that we can do in conducting research. There are some ideas that actually have been mentioned by previous presenters. including ideas from Dr. Araya talking about paradigm shift or mindset changes. Okay. All right, now let's move to the second one. Yeah, we all know that we are not living in this unprecedented and unexpected and difficult situation. Because of COVID-19, we have physical distancing, we know all of this. Even there are some countries are still locked down. That's what's now happening in Australia. Philippines also will go back to lockdown situation. So this is hard life anyway. However, I think we agree with this one. Just like economy and other part of our life, education cannot wait. Yeah, we have to keep moving, including in conducting research. So during this difficult situation, now the question, how can we conduct our research? Okay, but at the same time, we have to remember in conducting research during this outbreak, we have to put safety and health first. Okay, so we have to save our life. That is the first priority, but at the same time, education can keep going. So how can we deal with this? Now I'll come to my second main part of presentation. So how can we conduct research during this pandemic? Just like Dr. Araya just presented, that in this situation, I think I prefer to be somebody who has a growing mindset. Yeah. In other words, we have to change our paradigm in conducting research. So in this case, I think we have to shift from face-to-face fieldwork. This is traditional data collection that we have done. I think if we have done research before, I think we will prefer to do face-to-face fieldwork in conducting research. By the way, I'm a qualitative researcher, actually. I used to conduct interview face-to-face, for example. I used to visit classroom to do observation in the classroom. I used to conduct also offline focus group discussion to collect data for my research. But today, because of the limitation, we have to move away from that traditional face-to-face interaction to be more online and digital-based methodologies. So digital methods in this case simply understood as the use of online and digital technologies to collect and analyze research data. Yes, we are now living in a difficult situation, ladies and gentlemen, but the good news is we have a lot of platforms that we can employ, we can use to connect and to collect data and to connect with our research participants. I'm going to talk about it later. In general, let's look at this slide. In relation to ideas moving from traditional face-to-face to more digital-based methodological choices, we have, in general, two options in collecting data. So, of course, this is traditional one. We have been familiar with this. We used to conduct interviews face-to-face, FGD, or paper-based survey, experiment in our lab, doing field trip or observation and other methods of data collection. Now, because of this pandemic, we need to do more digital-based. And when we are doing digital-based methodological choices, we have two options, whether we are going to do that synchronous mode or asynchronous mode. What is synchronous mode? This is the platform that enables us to have virtual real-time interaction while researchers and participants co-present at the same time. So with this synchronous mode, we can have live interviews, we can interact in time, yeah, researchers and participants see each other and directly, immediately. Or we can also conduct FGD or live observation, or we can do also online text-based discussion, yeah, by synchronous mode. But because of some reasons, probably you prefer to do asynchronous mode. What is asynchronous mode? This is a platform that enables you to conduct not existing or not happening interaction at the same time. Yeah, in this case, you probably prefer to collect data through online survey, for example, or you collect data from journal diaries, or you collect data from asynchronous interviews, like email-based interviews, for example. This is some examples of asynchronous methods of data collection. Of course, this all really depend on your research objectives and your methodological preferences, and also considering your participant situation. Okay. All right. But in general, this is the what is it? The option or the alternative. Of course, all of these are not entirely new, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I think some of us have done this online interview before. But after pandemic or after this difficult situation, these digital-based methodological choices get the momentum. So they will be employed more significantly compared to before pandemic. And now the next question, how can we do this synchronous or asynchronous methods of data collection, or what kind of platforms that we can use? Here we are. Okay. Wait, there is a bit problem with my slide. Okay, here we go. Yeah, these are some platforms that we can use for synchronous. Remember, synchronous is direct, real-time, and coexist at the same time between participants and researchers. Yeah, you can collect data through phone call. I think we have done this. Maybe some of us have done this before. Yeah, or you can use Skype, and this is one of popular platforms before pandemic. However, after pandemic, I think most of us now become more familiar with Zoom, Google Meet, or WebEx meeting. These applications are actually similar each other. The features of application enable us to have, again, real-time communication, co-presence, and have direct interactivity between researchers and participants. And I found this application also very practical. It saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of money. Yeah, so it is very efficient. And one thing very specific that I like as a researcher with this platform is because most of the platform have video recording feature. So this is a good thing compared to recording your phone call, for example. You rely on audio only, but because of using this platform, you can also record video. And I think as a researcher, this feature is very important. Why this feature is very important? Because video recordings enables us to get detailed description of the data, including both verbal and non-verbal data, such as facial expressions, gestures, or body languages from the participants. You know, if you are a qualitative researcher, you really rely on participants' data. And the richer data you get, the richer interpretation that you can have from your data. The problem with verbal data, we cannot really capture all potential meaning generated from the data. However, if you have both audio and visual data at the same time, I believe this non-verbal data is very important for us because we can enrich our written data with visual data. For example, in verbal data, a participant might say, no, I don't agree with that, but their facial expressions say different gesture. Or if participants say yes, but their facial expression looks that they are not sure, as researcher, of course, this facial expression or this body language means something. So you can use it as the basis of your data interpretation later. That yes, in a written data should be compared to their facial expression, for example. So by the end of the day, I think as a teacher, we might know that one of the key terms in communication, that non-verbal communications can be more reliable than verbal communication. Okay, so that's why in case you are not really familiar with some of these platforms, please explore that. However, I believe most of us now getting more familiar with these platforms. Yeah, most of them are free. Yeah, however, some platform you have to pay for premium or extra features. Let me continue. And then how about for asynchronous data collection? Yeah, for example, if you conduct online, if you conduct survey, for example, it is now easy for you to conduct survey online. Before COVID-19, we might have been familiar with SurveyMonkey, for example. This is a platform that we can use to distribute survey online. There are some free features, yeah, but with some limitations, of course. You have to pay for complete. You might also have been familiar with Go Survey, yeah, similar to SurveyMonkey. And today, Google Form is getting more popular, I think, used by researchers in conducting online survey. And then later, another product from Microsoft, it's called Microsoft Form, is very similar to Google Form. They are free. You can also make use of this platform to conduct online survey. And I also assume that some of us have been familiar with using this, but in case if you are not familiar with how to conduct online survey or how to construct your survey using this platform, is very timely now for you to explore this. Of course, I'm not going to teach you now how to construct online survey because of only 15-minute presentation, but the point is, I found this Google Form, for example, is very useful, very handy, very easy to use in collecting data. So please explore. You can go to YouTube and then see there are lots of tutorials available in YouTube in relation to how to conduct online survey using Google Form. Okay, wait, should be next slide. Okay, next. What are the good things of online survey? Look, this is how it works, everyone. So we construct our survey, and when we finish, we distribute it easily through many platforms like WhatsApp, like email, like SMS. Yeah, just share the link, and then it collects data very quick. Yeah, because people can easily fill in the survey wherever and whenever they are. And then the specific and very interesting feature of most of this online survey is it can analyze results automatically. Okay, so later the result of your survey has been grouped and has been analyzed in such a way. You can see the percentage, you can see the graphs. So it's very handy, I think. Okay, so please explore if you're not yet familiar with this some platform for online survey. So in short, I can say that this online survey have lots of advantages. It can be very cheap compared to other methods. Yeah, compared to paper-based survey, for example, because you need to post that, you need to print, and sometimes you drop the paper-based survey to certain area, which is not possible today. Okay, it has quick turnaround. It is very quick. Yeah, if your survey is only let's say 10 minutes, so after 10 minutes or after 15 minutes, you will get response from your respondents or from your participants. And you can also monitor, yeah, how it works in your platform. You can see how many people have returned your survey and what is the percentage, where are they from, what is their answer. Okay, so you can monitor that. Yeah, very, very handy. And using online survey is also enable us to avoid what we call by interviewers bias, because sometimes what it happens when we have offline interview face to face, sometimes there is what we call by power relation issue between researchers and participants, especially when you are a lecturer in university and your participants are students. Especially in Indonesia, there is a power relation issue between lecturer or university professor with students. Sometimes, because of cultural issues, students neglect to say, or students do not really want to say no for a question. Actually, they want to say no, that's because they want to make you as their lecturers happy. However, if you do this online, this potential power relation issue and this interviewer's bias will be will be minimalized, or will be minimal. Okay, so these are some reasons why we can do online survey more during this COVID-19. And also its adaptability is flexible. Okay, people can fill in the survey whenever and wherever they are, or whenever they are available. They don't have to sit on certain place. They can do it, wherever, like during their traveling, or during waiting for bus in a bus station, for example, wherever and whenever they are. Okay, very, very handy. Okay. Okay, another option for data collection is digital diaries, especially when you are a collective researcher collecting stories from your participants. You can ask, or you can suggest your participants to use one of these journaling apps. Okay? Some journals are free, some journal needs to, you have to pay for complete features, but for basic need in collecting data through digital, through diaries or journaling, you can use one of these applications. Yeah, it's easy to entry. They have pleasant interface. They also have automatic reminders. And the good things also from the diary, they have exporting feature. So for example, after one diary, if you want the participants to give it back to you, they can export their diary into PDF file or RTF file, and then they can send it to you immediately. Okay, so you don't have to come and see them in person. They can do it online, of course. One last thing that I want to share is we also can explore and employ social media for our data collection during this pandemic, everyone. Even Facebook now, are you aware that today Facebook has their latest feature that you can also have something like Google Meet, or you can also have something like Zooming through Facebook. Okay,
I think Mr. Afrianto lost his internet connection.
Hello, I'm sorry, disconnecting. Yeah, are you still with me? Do you hear me, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, please continue.
All right. Yeah, so you can also use social media like Instagram. For those who maybe some of you are not yet familiar with Instagram. Maybe Instagram, that is social media, but for some people, especially those over 40, they do not really play in Instagram. But remember, if you are dealing with participant, for young age participant, most of them play in Instagram, and you can approach them through their Instagram. And one of the features in Instagram is Insta Story. I'll show you one of examples what I did 2 years ago to collect data from Insta Story. Okay, I'll show you this video. Okay. Please listen and see how it works. So I post questions about their opinion about something in their Insta Story, and my participants directly answer the questions or post their opinion. Okay, and look how it works. Yeah, that is the question. And that is their answer. How do you find a good teacher? Teacher who can explain the material in easiest way and very understandable. A good teacher is like you, sir. This is their answer anyway. And yeah, this is another opinion. Yeah. This is Indonesian anyway. Sorry if you don't understand Indonesian. Yeah, a good teacher is the one who knows how to deal with students, the one who passionately in teaching, caring, respect student, motivate student, teacher who can inspire the student, a teacher without slide. Yeah. So a good teacher is a teacher without slide. This is very interesting, right? And the one who doesn't only teach but also motivates, like you, sir, katanya. They said. And do you think you will choose teaching? Yes. Okay. Probably yes, because I believe. So basically I have two questions here, and you can see their answer, and I got their answer immediately from their Instagram. Yeah, it's called Insta Story. Yeah, in Instagram. Okay. So if you want to approach younger participants, everyone, I suggest you also to think of possibility in Instagram or other social media in collecting data. Okay, in collecting data. Yeah, this is another answer. So as researcher, I can now use some of this data as the finding, yeah, if I want. So the point of this, okay, this is the, yeah, this was my pic. This is my picture when I was in UP. Is it 2 years ago? Okay. Okay. Yang digugulan ditiru, ya. It meaning that teacher is the one who we model upon or we follow. Teacher who can make the student love the subject and want to learn it more and more. Yes, that's it. Okay, come back to my point is, so there are a lot other possibilities that we can now use to keep our research going. So COVID basically is not, yeah, it brings some limitation to our life, but just like Dr. Araya, it also brings a lot of opportunity to explore. Okay, hopefully we can explore some of these ideas in for our research. That's all, everyone. Thank you for listening to me. I give it back to moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Afrianto. Very nice presentation. And actually, I also didn't realize that my Instagram story is also process of collecting data.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know that there are several questions, especially for Mr. Afrianto in YouTube. I know at least 3 questions that we will discuss later. Okay, now we directly move to our last speaker for today. Mrs. Dr. Sri Setyarini, Master Applied Linguistics. Are you still with us, Dr. Rini?
Yes,
yeah.
we are.
Yeah, okay. So will you manage your presentation by yourself? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Before Urini start her presentation, let me introduce a little bit about her background. Dr. Sri Setyarini, Master of Applied Linguistics, was born in Klaten, Central Java, Indonesia, on 29 December 1963. She has accomplished her bachelor degree from English Department, Universitas 11 Maret in 1989. And under AUS-8, now Australian Award Scholarship in 1997, she earned her Master of Applied Linguistics from Macquarie University, Sydney, Australia. And she completed her doctoral degree in English Education from Universitas Negeri Semarang in 2018. Now she is an associate professor of English Education Department, Universitas Pendidikan, Indonesia. She has a research interest in higher order thinking skill in English for foreign learners classroom. And of course, today she will not present about English for foreign language classroom, but she will share about how to be a critical researcher, tips for doing successful research in new normal time. So if you're ready now, please, go Rini, the time is fully yours. Hello, Bu Rini. Yeah, now we can see your presentation.
Okay. Have you got my slide?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is my honor to be in front of the researchers, teachers, lecturers. This is very interesting topic that I have to share. Actually, all of my share here is based on my experience because in pandemic's time, I realized that doing research is no problem at all for me, and I still keep running my research. Before I start, I would like to show the quotation that I have. Excuse me. Actually, this quotation is reflected to my own problems supervising my student in doing research, undergraduate student and postgraduate students, because some of them finished their proposal in February, but suddenly pandemics came and most of them were very shocked and hopeless. And as a supervisor and I myself as a researcher, I thought hard in that time how to get out from these difficulties. So pandemics is not the end of the world, but pandemic is a good opportunity for researchers to go on with adjustable strategies, adjustable critical thinking. So don't let challenging time obstruct your research progress. Because pandemic is very challenging, so the researchers have to be critical how to run the research without neglecting those items to be considered in doing this. Talking about research, everyone, as a researchers, I feel very comfortable doing research before pandemics, and I and my teams, okay, can do many projects in once. Because everything is very easy. We can meet the respondents face by face, face to face. We did grounded research, and we have many opportunities to collect the data. We can apply interview, talk to the teachers all the time very easily. And I could observe in the classroom very intense to do the research. So more possibilities were spoiled in the time. So doing research was very interesting, and I was a little bit shocked in the beginning of pandemic. Oh my God, what happened with my research? And I promised to Department of Education that I have to finish my last 3 years project, but the time is not welcome to do this. Wow, I think yes. I think that nothing is impossible, but we can arrange such a way by adjusting the time. So whilst pandemic, some researchers are a little bit doubtful, okay, to have just one indirect interaction. We cannot identify the real problem in front of us or surrounding us, but we just keep reading and reading the similar area of our research so we can find the gaps. And overall, it's very complicated. It is the assumption. But after getting through, by applying my strategy in critical thinking, I know that this is not the end of the work, and my research project began. Sorry, some signal problems. Okay. Okay, but for being critical researchers, we have to realize to consider two basics. Basics here means that something are the same as we do, although in the normal time or in the pandemic time, no problem. We have to consider about logistics, okay, and then what facilitations, guide, instruments for collecting the data we prepared, and then we have to have a well-thought discussion with the team. The things that we commonly do in our team members, okay, and moderation and facilitation, okay, of course, we have to realize that this is in digital environment, so we have to put people in a very easy way, against and against during doing the research. The participants say, Burini, I have technical problems, so I live in remote area, I cannot access the Zoom application, blah, 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 blah. So make sure that we have to be friendly to the people associating with our research, with the research. So not take for granted that Zoom is the best because Zoom is very comfortable for me to have a meeting. This is from our side. What happened with another side, with our participant, with our colleagues outside there who works together in our program? Okay, collaboration and smart synthesis. Okay, this is very important. We cannot do research in this difficult time alone. That's impossible. Although sometimes we realize that, oh, it's very easy because we work from home. We can do everything by ourselves. That's nonsense. We have to collaborate with other teams, okay, to support our study, to support our research, okay. Compelling report, okay. And giving the report, we do not need to give only the written report, but we can include other modes such as photo, video, other figures such as poster, etc. So to make sure that the findings here can be well understood by the audience, on the people who needs our findings, our research result. Okay, the pivot, what changes in the shift of digital? Digital is very easy to some people, but digital is little bit new for other people relating to the study that we involve other parties, other people. So make sure that we have to consider about the technology. We need to work with partners. I often need other assistants who know better about technology. Of course, I'm a researcher. I do not know everything well, but I really need other assistants. The logistics, okay, we have to be ready to manage difficulties. Like what I got just now, that I got a problem with this signal because I live in the hills, so sometimes it is not stable. Okay, the accessibility and usability, we as researchers, we have to be aware. Okay, is our research here accessible? Yeah, to the participants, the teachers that I'm going to explore to gain the data through online interviewing. We have to question ourselves before starting our projects, because against online facilities, online technology is not familiar to everyone, but we have to consider other party. Okay, we get some strategies to make our research done. Okay, because I'm sure that although in pandemic's time, we get a lot of projects. The first one, we have to make a priority. For example, there are 3 projects. We have to consider this project will be due in September. This project will be due in October. But this project will be due next month. That's why I have to catch this one first. So making priority is very important. Okay, so we can arrange everything to support our activity of research. The next one is about increasing online presence, because I decided already that this is my priority. So that I keep in touch, or I use more often, okay, in catching the information through online presence. Okay, completing professional service tasks. Of course, I have the timeline, I have the agendas in doing my research. What should be done first? Whether I should write abstract and then send to the conference committee. So I will get some feedback from the audience in the conference. So make sure that this is the best topic that I have to do. Okay, playing the long game. Okay, as researchers, we have to make timelines. Okay, well. Okay, so we have to follow the activities based on the timeline we already made. So make sure that our job is not overlapping. We work in the track. Okay, rethinking the writing habit is the researcher's problem, especially for myself. I like doing research, but talking about writing report, oh my God, this is the thing that I don't like. That's why during pandemic, I have to keep in my mind that rethinking the writing habit must be done by writing journal. This is the progress. This is the recordings result that I have to transcribe. This is the questionnaires result that I have to put in the table. So writing habit should be done in this time. And catching up, okay, I have to catch up the information, and then I keep asking to my team, what about our progress? Is our progress okay, well done as our target? And I have to involve the concerns to the team, okay, how to do and to run our research, okay, based on our schedule. Okay, this is, for example, the digital process, okay, to do qualitative research in for rich insights. As actually this is the thing that we commonly do in our research. Okay, starting from aligning, we have to identify what is the best topic done in the new normal time relating to learning English, relating to classroom learning, etc. Can I identify the things that the most suitable, needed or demanded by the society? In this case, is teachers. Should I do this topic in my project? So I keep observing the phenomenon around my career, my job, my professions. Okay, and then from identifying, I keep meeting with my friends virtually. Oh, okay, I got this point. I get this topic. Is it good for us to do this research? Okay, is it appropriate for us? And do the teachers need our research finding? So we keep talking, we keep discussing, although we cannot meet directly. Before pandemic, usually discussion is our main agenda to raise many interesting topics for research. But now, without tea, without cafe, without pisang goreng, we still keep sharing this, having discussion through online discussion. Explore. Okay, we have to involve our people, our team that are interested in the same area of research. Okay, what do you think of this? What is your opinion about my statement, etc.? So we collect all ideas from the members that are interested in the same thing, and we get together to write the proposal for the research. Collaborative, okay, sense of making, of course, okay. Through collaboration, we make sure that the dream research will come true in a piece of proposal that is well written, join the competition and win in the competition. This is very good. And activate, how to realize, how to conduct, how to act out our idea. Okay, of course, we have to conduct the final workshop among the team. And then we have to give the report, and we have to market and make the design activation, meaning that we are looking for the scholars, the sponsorship to support our research. Okay, this is, I think, the thing that Afrianto already explained, so not necessary for me to repeat again. So this is the procedures to do the research, starting from identifying problem to make the appropriate design in pandemic time. What is the best design? Should we still keep doing the grounded research or online? So people think that online research is like doing nothing. No, because we never try doing online research, online collecting data. We live in the safe zone. Okay, so everything must be in the spot. Okay, so try to function online facilities optimally. So I'm sure that actually there is no significant difference between online and offline research. Depends on our adjustment instrument. Okay, the same things. Okay, research and conclusion and adjustment. I think the things here have been explained by Mr. Afrianto. This is coming to the last session, tips to be critical researchers. This is my personal suggestion, and I have done this, and Alhamdulillah, this is well done, because we try to be flexible, not thinking that doing research should face it on the site. We have to meet the respondent directly. No, try to get the alternative by being flexible, be opinionated. So one advantage of facing pandemic is everyone will be aware that online is very helpful. Online is not frightening. Online things is not boring. So we can try open-minded. We try to share with other people that we think that they will give us some insight, some ideas. So we welcome to their idea, as long as the idea here will support our concepts of research. Be mindful. Of course, being researchers, being critical researchers should be consistent. Not one time we do this research about second language acquisition or about children literacy. Another time we have to do a research for other subject. No, I think that be mindful, we have to concentrate the interest of research area. We have to keep going. Be yourself, meaning that if we already decided that this is the best thing done during pandemic time, and we never give up. Okay, we stick on our plan, we stick on our schedule to do the research. And the last one, but not least, do our best in any single project, because being a critical researcher is not a gift. Not a gift from when we were born, but this is, a very long process to be promoted. If we do our best in any single research, I'm sure research will be friendly to us. Research will be a very interesting activity. Research is fun. Thank you very much, and good luck to be critical researchers. Thank you.
Thank you, Burini. It's
Thank you,
very
Burini.
amazing presentation.
Very amazing and clear presentation. But Burini missed one thing. She should describe what is pisang goreng to our Thai and Chinese people recently here. Maybe Professor Peter also didn't know what's pisang goreng.
Okay, pisang goreng is fried banana. Usually pisang goreng is our favorite menu among the researchers. So when we identify new issue in the society relating to educational issues, we try to have a meeting together. We enjoy Indonesian tea while eating pisang goreng, fried banana. So banana, Cavendish banana is wrapped by flour and fried. That's very nice, Peter. Welcome to Bandung, and I will serve the best for you. Araya, do you know pisang goreng? That's very nice and very healthy, and I harvest from my own garden, so it's very easy to serve this. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, Pak Hanif.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please big virtual applause for Burini. And
thank you.
We have done for all of the 4 presenters today. So now we are going to question and answer section. I know some questions in YouTube and also in live chat from Zoom. A question has been answered by Dr. Araya, or Dr. Araya will give a more explanation directly about the question from Mr. Encap Supriyatna.
Yes, okay. Dr. Sorry, Mr. Oh, I'm not really sure. Incept Supriya. Sorry if I cannot call the name. Yeah, the first question is about the fixed and growth mindset. That what kind of research which is suitable or relevant with the fixed and growth mindset. Actually, at first, according to Carol Dweck, she said that each person, individual, has both fixed and growth mindset. But we have both fixed and growth mindset, but it depends on the but we quite keen on whether fixed or growth depend on our experience. So it means that a lot of evidence shows that we can change our mindset from fixed to growth and also growth to fixed through training, through experience, through learning, through our parents. So if we want to do research about mindset, we can do many types of mindset. We can do like develop an intervention to change our target group. For example, our students from fixed to growth. Like, actually, I have a plan probably next year, work with my colleagues at the MSU, that because from our experience, we find that our students often fear of English. They said that English is difficult. So my colleague and I will develop a kind of intervention to train or to change our teacher-student from fixed to growth mindset. So I mean that the research can do like develop an intervention, or you can do like a survey. And as Dr. Afrianto said that we can do the online survey to look for the factors that related to mindset. Like last year, what I did is that I investigated the teacher's mindset, values, and also instructional practice in mathematics classroom. I want to see whether the impact or the impact of mindset on teachers' teaching practice, and also the relation between relation among mindset and value, and also instructional practice of mathematics teacher. So to answer the question, you can do any kind of research, develop intervention, or look for the factors or other variable that relate to the mindset, and also what type of method or research method to do the research on mindset in like this normal time. If you ask me that we have a high level of restriction, I would say that online survey, quantitative, yeah, is better, because it's hard that we apply, like if we do the or qualitative interview, some kind like that. We can do mixed method, qualitative or quantitative. It depends on our objectives. Yeah, that about the research. That's my answer.
Thank you, Dr. Araya. Hopefully,
Thank you, Dr. Araya.
Yeah.
You for your
it really
explanation.
answer the
Yes.
question. And I want to move to Mr. Afrianto because there are at least 3 questions in YouTube stream for Mr. Afrianto Daud. The first question from Hera Hertati. The question is how to cover the collecting data like observation of learning process while virtual learning in the big class, because it is limited in the application used like Zoom or Google Classroom.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the question. Who is the name? What is the name? Hera.
Hera.
Okay. Bu Hera, thank you for the question. So the question is how to cover the collecting data like observation learning process while virtual learning in the big class, because it is limited in the application used like Zoom, Google Classroom. All right, so depending on your research objective, Ibu Hera, or your research question, what is actually you are aiming, for? What specific thing are you going to observe? If you want to observe like how a virtual class works, the simplest thing to do observation is by recording all the process. If it is through Zoom, so just simply turn on the recording button, and then you don't have to observe anyway, because by recording you can go away and then later check the recording. Yeah, this is very easy. See how technology helps in this case. In traditional observation, you have to stay there all the time, and you have to bring like papers, for example, because you have to see everything live, okay, on the spot. But using recording features like in Zoom, for example, you just turn on the Zoom recording. You may sit there, but if for some reasons you have to leave, you still can leave, I think, because later you can check the recording and you can observe what's happening during the process. Yeah. So really depending on your research questions, what are you observing for, and what is your research question? Of course, we cannot expect things happening like in offline class. Okay, so you will not see, for example, teachers going around the class, yeah, because in online class, of course, teachers will be sitting all the time, for example. So that's my maybe simple answer for that question. Okay, simply record that, and then later double check, or later see and watch the recording and look how it works. Okay, that is the first question.
Yeah, the next question, please. From Ahadiah Al-Tofunisa.
Okay,
it is continuing with the third question. How do we validate our data, which is taken in both modes, synchronized and asynchronized, and also how the effective online survey, for example, for journaling for students in university for their research?
Okay. Yes, about validity, maybe Prof. Peter later can please add some ideas as well about validation, especially in validating online data. Well, talking about validity is actually the term that is, as far as I understand, is a term more appropriate for quantitative data. I mean, quantitative approach. In qualitative research, another term for that is trustworthiness. So we do not really use the term validity as what is it, positivistic paradigm. Yeah, my son is next to you, next to me. I'm sorry.
Good.
That's what's happening if we are doing online class.
Yes.
So as far as my understanding, to validate or to get trustworthiness of our data in qualitative study, because I'm a qualitative researcher, so I'm familiar more with qualitative data. One thing that we can do is what we call by triangulation. So again, depending on your research question, For example, if you want to see teachers' opinion about online learning, for example, first you can ask them through interview, okay? And then you add another method of data collection. Maybe there is another method of data collection like survey, for example. And then later you have FGD at the end. So you start with survey first, yeah, survey asking about their opinion about online survey, maybe using yes/no question or Likert scale, for example. It's up to you. And then later you invite every teacher for interview. And then later you invite all participants to have a discussion online or FGD. So and later you try to see how this data correlate each other. If they are consistent, that means the data is valid. That is the idea of triangulation, right? Okay. And another way to validate our data is what we call by member checking or participants checking. For example, if you have interviewed participants and after that, normally in qualitative research, we transcribe the interview, right? So when you transcribe, you need later to send the transcription to the participants and ask them, request them to double check whether our, let's say our transcription is correct, whether that is what he or she really mentioned during the interview, for example, okay? But the good thing of recording, yeah, we can together double check the ideas or data from the participant. Because in some cases, maybe we transcribe not really in a way, I mean, not really, I mean, the transcription probably has different meaning from what the participant wanted to say. So member checking is one way to validate our data. And another way is try to make sure the neutrality between participants and researcher, as I have mentioned in my presentation. So try to avoid power relation issue. So if you want to interview your students, if you are a teacher, for example, you need to find neutral place in a conventional way of data collection. However, in online, it is already neutral, I think. There is no issues of power relation, I believe. At least the issue will be less and less in online mode. Because in online mode, you know, everybody seems like in the same position. So that's also a good idea or good way of doing online interview. Yeah, you avoid the researcher's bias, as I have mentioned in my presentation. Okay. That is.
I think Professor Peter want to add.
Yes, just one comment about triangulation. I endorse what Afrianto has said. It's very important in any piece of research to put some sets of results against other sets of results, and to have confirmation from at least 2, possibly 3. Triangulation literally means three different sources to verify one kind of result. But two is generally seen as adequate. But the 2 kinds of sources of information should come from completely different kinds of participants or different kinds of questions, so that you're not getting a confirmation, internal consistency confirmation from the same kind of source. You do need it from different kinds of participants, for example, or different kind of surveys or questionnaires or online surveys or whatever you use. So that's the comment that I'd make about that.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Peter.
Thank you, Professor Peter. Next question, I think it will be answered by Bu Rini. Question also from YouTube. Before we are going to the next question from Zoom. From Semi Sukarni. In case study, we need to use several data collection techniques such as class observation, test, and interview. So how to replace the observation and interview in this COVID? I think it is.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Bu Semi Sukarni used to be my friend in doctoral degree. Hello. Okay, thank you. That's why this is the thing that I want to share. Pandemic is no problem for critical researchers. As I started to get a solution for my undergraduate